So there are two major types of antibiotics that every person is likely to encounter in their lifetime medically. They are effective because of the differences between bacterial cells and our cells, namely how their cell walls and the fact that they have cell walls are composed and how their ribosomes are built. The two main classes that you'll see are probably the beta-lactams, so penicillin, amoxicillin, methicillin, and protein synthesis inhibitors, or your tetracyclines or aminoglycosides. And those two different types of antibiotics are going to be effective in different ways, and they're going to be used for different purposes and in different situations. So the beta-lactams, they work on the synthesis, or they affect the synthesis of the bacterial cell wall, because bacteria have something called peptidoglycan that is completely foreign to our cells. It's composed of two molecules called NAM and NAG, with the acronyms, and they are cross-linked together, and they form a strong outer shell that keeps the bacteria safe against osmotic stresses in the environments that they encounter within our bodies. What beta-lactams do is they go and they interfere with how that cell wall is cross-linked, and they mean that the cell wall is either poorly formed or completely inadequately formed, and the cells will just pop under the stress of the liquid environment that they're in. Now the protein synthesis inhibitors, they go and they keep the ribosomes from turning mRNA into effective proteins. And what that does is it doesn't kill the bacteria, but it keeps them from thriving. And so our own immune systems can then go and they have an advantage in fighting off the bacteria because it's not active, the bacteria colony is not actively growing. And so you're able to catch up to and then defeat the bacteria. So the reasons that you would use one versus the other is a lot of bacteria are resistant to beta-lactams. They produce something called beta-lactamase, which will go and defeat the thing that's meant to defeat them. Another reason is that not every bacteria, even though that's a hallmark of bacteria, not every bacteria has peptidoglycan. And so if you're trying to use something that is meant to break that down, if they lack it, it's going to be sort of the same reason that we can use antibiotics on our own bodies, is that our cells lack those things as well, and so it doesn't affect us. It's not going to affect that bacteria that doesn't have a peptidoglycan wall. So then you would go to turn to something like doxycycline, which will go and keep that bacterial cell from producing proteins, keep it from its ability to really thrive in its environment, and let your own immune system catch up and go and ultimately defeat that bacterial infection, and you're on your way. And so that is a small glimpse into why you use different different antibiotics for different bacterial infections, and you don't just have one lick and stick solution to a bacterial infection.